Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to go use a few props today, so I just want to go over that in the beginning to make sure you have everything that you would like available to you. One of the things we're going to use is a corner space. So it could be like a corner of a wall or a piece of furniture or anything like that. That's about your height that you can have a little moment in that area. Another thing would be pillows, blankets, or blocks. And if you don't have any of these things, it's okay. They're more just placeholders. So anything that's about the same size would work fine, from a book to a box to just anything else. A blanket, things like that. All right. So that should be all the props we're going to need today. If you need to take a moment to grab anything, feel free to do so. Pause the video if you're watching the recording, and then we will go ahead and get started. We'll start today by coming into a comfortable seated position of your choice. Now, if you're taking chair poses, maybe you're bringing your back up against the back of the chair, planting your feet firmly, sitting up tall. And if you're choosing a floor position, all of those same things, except for maybe your feet are not planted. Maybe you're crisscross applesauce, or sending your legs out long, or finding another way to comfortably sit for an extended period of time. Feeling free to add pillows or those blankets that we talked about, or even the blocks under your hips for a little added support. As we start to settle in here, I invite you to close your eyes, or maybe to simply soften your gaze, letting your vision blur over, letting your shoulders start to relax, letting your breath start to find an easy rhythm, breathing in and then breathing out. As we start to settle in here, we'll take a moment to notice how the body is feeling. Are there any sensations that are strong in your body today? Whether those are physical, mental, or even emotional feelings. Take a moment, give it some space and some breath. And then with your out breath, see if you can soften those areas. You might not make those sensations go away. Sometimes directing our breath into those areas can help start to untangle, or even just provide a little acknowledgement that it exists. I then want us to start to really focus in on our breathing itself. Again, we're not really changing it. We're not extending it or adding pauses. We're just keeping that natural flow. But I want us to really start to connect with the feeling. So if you can do so in your mind, you're welcome to do that. Or maybe bring your hands to your hips or to the side of your rib cage. And as you breathe here, start to feel the way your torso moves with your inhale and then your exhale. Can you begin to start to feel the rib cage expanding and contracting? Maybe you can dive inward and feel the diaphragm as it moves this muscle in your abdomen. It helps open, contract the lungs. Maybe you bring your hands to your heart space, connecting with that heartbeat as you feel your breath, your sternum rising, falling. You could also bring your hands onto your shoulders. Another great way to connect with the physical movement of the breath. Maybe you start to dial in to where the air is entering or exiting. Maybe you begin to feel the temperature of the air as it enters or exits your body. Or maybe instead you feel a subtle flow of air as it goes across your mouth, through your nostrils. And as we breathe here, I'm going to ask you that today, throughout our practice, and maybe even beyond, that we start to become open to whatever arises, whatever thoughts, whatever feelings, and even whatever sensations come. Let them. Be still with it. Before I found mindfulness practice, I used to block anything that didn't feel immediately good, like an emotion that was heavy, or even a thought that was too stressful. But I've learned that in order for things to fall away, to not cling to them, they first must be allowed to come up. So I've learned to invite in whatever the present moment brings. Good, bad, frustrating, angry, happy, joyful. I let it rise. I try to be with it gently, without judgment. And then it can fall away. But we must continually fill and empty our hearts to make room for our truth of who we are in each moment. So whatever rises, can you let it? As we take a few more of these intentional, natural breaths, allow your awareness to rest in your heart space. Feel the heart as a different emotions or feelings or even physical sensations rise and fall. And see if, just like your breath, you can let it flow. We'll take a few breaths just like that. And I'll let you know when we start to move forward. Again, anything that arises, simply be with it for a moment, letting it fall away as it wishes, bringing your focus back to your breath when you can. Beautiful job today. We'll give ourselves lots of practice throughout our day today of simply coming back to that breath and letting whatever is be in this moment. As we come to the end of our grounding meditation, take a moment to offer yourself gratitude. Gratitude that you can flow when you choose to. Gratitude for showing up for yourself today, or any other reason you might want a little gratitude in your life at this moment. As you're ready, start to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll flutter the eyes open and we'll start to add some gentle movement into our practice. If you're on the ground, we'll come into a child's pose, and we'll come into a child's pose either way, but I'm gonna do the ground variation first here. So we want to add a little extra to this child's pose today. Maybe adding blocks under the arms or the hands or the elbows. Take the knees as wide, the toes maybe touching. Maybe you add a pillow or block under the hips for a little extra support. And maybe you bring a pillow or block under your forehead so that you can make a little contact as you start to settle in here. And then rock the hips a little left to right. Now, if you're taking the chair variation, again, this is where some of those props might come in handy. So feel free to move your chair to an area if you need to move it or bring props to you. But we're also going to take our knees wide here, really wide. The toes aren't touching because our feet are flat, keeping us nice and steady. And then we start to hinge forward at the hips. Now you're always welcome to rest your elbows on your knees, maybe bring your hands to a prayer and let your fingertips support your forehead. This is a great way to also make that contact between your forehead and a surface. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper into the forward fold and it's available in your body, you could bring a pillow or another surface in front of your body so your forehead can rest on that. Maybe bring some blocks down under your hands or again, any type of prop to just add a little space between your hands and the floor. And just like on the floor, take a moment to wiggle through the hips and allow yourself to settle in here. Really feel yourself surrendering to this movement, to this forward fold, to this extension through the arms. Allowing the weight of your body to fully fall into whatever your forehead is touching. Feeling the ground and noticing the sensations. Again, whatever sensations start to arise. Maybe there's a tweakiness at a hip or lower back that you're noticing that sitting up straight did not bring to your attention. Can you simply breathe with that sensation and breathe into it today, letting it have space without judgment of any kind. Beautiful. We'll take one last deep breath here. Maybe even allow a little sigh on your exhale. Beautiful job. Now, if your forehead is resting on something, go ahead and move that out of the way. We're then going to begin to walk our hands over to the right side of our space. We're still staying in our child's pose, but we're adding a little half banana side bend here. We're reaching maybe the left hand a little bit further than the right, or you could even stack the left hand on top of the right. And if you're not using props, if you're on your leg, just bring both hands over to that right leg. As you notice this lengthening of the rib cage, can you feel your breath? Our next exhale walks hands through center over to the left. Right hand either steps a little further or on top of the left hand. Notice the rise, the expansion of the rib cage on this side. Beautiful. Our next inhale brings us back through center. And then let's come up about halfway here. As we do, we're going to find a prayer pose. So we're going to bring, if we're on the ground, our elbows down to the ground, or maybe onto a prop, and bring our hands into a prayer. You're taking this from the chair, we'll do that on our knees. So we'll come back to the up a little bit back vertical, bring our elbows to our knees, create that prayer position. Now we're going to walk our elbows over to the right knee or to the right side of our mat. And we're going to begin to lift our right elbow, stacking right elbow in line with left elbow as we take a little twist here. Prayer twist from our child's pose. Your next exhale allows that top elbow to meet the bottom elbow. Walking your elbows to the left side. Stacking as you start to lift the top elbows and twist to the side. Great job. Last breath here. Exhale, top elbow comes down. Walk yourself through center. And then go ahead, and if you're on the mat, push yourself up to standing on your knees. Tuck your toes. And if you like blocks for camel pose, maybe bring some blocks back by your heels. You're taking chair pose. You want to make sure you're at the edge of your chair and that your feet are firmly planted. Bring them back in alignment with your hip. And then no matter where you're at, we're going to start to lift our arms, letting them float overhead. Feel that length and extension through both sides of your rib cage this breath. As you stay for your inhale, see if you can reach those fingertips just a little bit higher. Shoulders come up by the ears. And then as you take an exhale, begin to let your hands and maybe your gaze even start to follow your hands as they drop a little bit behind your head. So you're taking a back bend here. Beautiful job. Bring the gaze to the horizon. And you can keep your hands lifted if that feels like the perfect camel stretch for you. If you'd like, you can start to circle the hands down, either bringing them to your hips or maybe to the chair or even down towards those blocks. But wherever you're at, you're letting your heart start to lift. Your hips are pulling forward a little or a lot. Your shoulder blades are squeezing towards each other. And again, you might have those hands up, or they might be at your hips, or down on the prop of your choice. Feel that beautiful heart opener, openness, the word of today, seeing if we can stay with whatever arises in each moment. Great job. Inhale, bring it back to a straight spine. Let the arms come down by the hips if they were lifted. And then if you are on the mat, we'll come onto hands and knees for a tabletop. And if you're in the chair, we'll stay at the edge of our chair in seated mountain. From here, we're going to start to find a cat-cow as we pull our belly forward or down, start to roll through the shoulder blades, lift that heart, lift the gaze. Similar to camel, but now we're fully moving through our entire abdomen as well. And then with your next exhale, chin comes towards your torso, shoulders round towards your ear, your back of your spine curls either towards the chair or towards the ceiling. And you're tucking your tailbone just a little bit. Take that at your own pace in between these two movements, noticing what or doesn't arise. Breathing with your movement. Wonderful job. Our next inhale brings our spine back straight. You're on the mat, sitting back into a hero's pose. We bring ourselves to sit on our heels or a prop, like a block. And from the chair, we're going to take it into half hero. So we'll do one side and then switch halfway through. So we'll come over to the right side and start to bring that right foot back behind us. Toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever feels stable. And then I always like to take my left leg just a little bit more to the left side, offering a counterbalance to the hero's pose or half heroes. From here, let's take our right wrist out in front of us. We're going to take our left hand and begin to pull the fingertips back towards the body, stretching through the wrist. Take 2 more long, steady breaths. Great job. Now take that right thumb and bring it back out to the side and back towards the wrist. Great job. Exhale, releasing that wrist. Begin to take the left ear down towards the left shoulder. So opposite of the one-sided leg if you're taking it one side. Let the left hand come over and just gently rest on the side of the head, adding a little weight, opening up through that right side. And then maybe you take that right hand out. You can move it up, down, forward, or back, or you could just let it hang by your side, but each option adds a different stretch into the side of your neck. So taking it at your own pace, finding that perfect place, letting it sink in and relax with your breath as you notice whatever arises. Great job. Exhale to bring the spine back into neutral. Release the arms. You're taking one-sided from the chair. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Bringing our left foot back for half heroes and opening the right knee. And if you're taking it from the ground, if you tucked those toes, you know that you're welcome to untuck them at any point to release that stretch on the bottom of the feet. We'll start to let the left hand come out, fingertips point down, beginning to take that right hand, pulling those fingertips towards your body. And again, this is not tweaking the wrist. We don't want to feel pain here. We just want to simply pull the fingertips till we start to feel that stretching sensation. And if anything feels uncomfortable in any pose ever, you know that you have full authority to ask yourself how you can make it feel better, and then simply choose to do that. All right, one more breath here. Exhale to release. Taking thumb, drawing it to the side and back. Beautiful job. Let's exhale to release there. Feel free to take any movement and then allow the right ear to start to fall by the right shoulder. Maybe letting that right hand come around, assisting by adding just a little bit of weight. We're not pulling the head down. We're not dragging it or tweaking it. We're simply adding a little extra weight. And then just like before, maybe you start to extend that left hand forward, back, up or down, or make any movement here until you find that stretch in the left side of your neck that feels like the stretch you really are desiring in this moment. And as you breathe there, notice what arises without judgment. Nothing here is good, bad. Just simply is what it is at this moment. Great job. Last breath. Inhale to bring the spine back to neutral. And then go ahead and come back through center. Alrighty, from here, we're going to go ahead and come on up to standing. getting there in your own time and in your own, maybe even grabbing a drink. We're going to come into our mountain pose, feeling firmly planted. And you're always welcome to have a prop nearby for a little added support here. We'll come into our mountain pose with our hands by our sides. With our next inhale, we're going to let the arms float up, tall mountain. Feel that length and extension. A nice sun salutation here to get our movement started. Maybe we keep our hands apart. Maybe we bring them together, or maybe you drop one to your hip or a prop. But start to bend through the left side body, reaching that left fingertips over towards the right, letting the left hip come out to the left side. Great job. Inhale to bring it back through center. Exhale, take it into your standing banana on the other side. Inhale, bring it back to center. With our next exhale, we're going to start to twist at the hips, letting your arms come down and then lift your right knee. Now you can stay on your tiptoes, or you can lift it up to hip height and hold it with your hand, or you can bring it onto your prop. But we're getting a nice twist here. And if you're not holding your leg with both hands, maybe you open your right hand behind you. Inhale to bring it back through tall mountain. Exhale, twist, little balance challenge to the left. Great job. Inhale to bring it back through tall mountain. Exhale, let the arms go wide as you swan dive into your forward fold, letting your hands rest on your prop, your legs, or anywhere else. Top of your head reaching towards the floor. Gentle bend in your knees. Press into your hands. We lift up halfway, figure 7. Exhale, hinge into your forward fold. Bend the knees so deeply that your hips come down towards your heels, almost into a little ball shape, and then unfurl yourself, rolling up one vertebrae at a time, back into mountain pose, hands by your sides. Beautiful flow through the spine today. Let's go ahead and get into those shoulders just a little bit. So I mentioned a corner area of your space. And if you've been with me for a while, you might know where we're going with this. We're going to be doing a butterfly wings. So as we come to face our corner, we bring our hands to about shoulder height. We want a little bit of space between us and the wall here in the corner, but hands are at shoulder height and we're pressing into those hands. Elbows are almost like a cactus or W here. Notice how this feels. Now you're welcome to stay right here, just simply pressing into the walls, getting a little bit of loading through the joints. But if you'd like to go deeper into the stretch in the back and the heart opener, start to walk your torso into the corner, but keep the hands exactly where they are, continuing to press into those hands. You should feel a little bit of pinching at the shoulder blades here, opening through the heart space. And take just a couple of breaths, keeping the spine straight, a gentle bend in your knees. Stretching those butterfly wings and noticing what arises. Could even be some mental conversation about being in a corner. Nobody puts baby in a corner or something like that, but just notice what's there. Enjoy it, maybe, or not. One more breath, pressing into both hands, maybe a little bit more. Now, if you took the step into the corner, go ahead and step back out, coming equal with your hands, and then release them down by your sides. Great job. This heart opener, we're going to be doing a lot of shoulder girdle work, so just a heads up on that. For our next pose, we're going to find a plank variation. Now, if you'd like to use your chair and keep your hands just a little bit lower, I suggest putting your chair up against the surface like the wall. If you want to take that middle maybe out, you can just simply bring your hands to shoulder length, shoulder height at the wall. And then start to walk yourself enough away from whatever prop you're using that you're putting weight, you're loading your joints from wrist, elbow, shoulders. There's a straight line. We're engaging our core. We're not letting it flow in, but we're keeping it straight through the spine from the heels all the way to the top of the head. Your heels can touch or they can be lifted. It's really up to you. Now from our standing plank variation, we're going to start to bend the elbows towards the floor a little or a lot, which should allow your nose to come a little closer to the wall or your prop. And then inhale, push yourself away. So we're doing little baby yogi push-ups. We'll take about 3 to 5 at your own pace. And if shallow works better for your body, go shallow. You don't have to bring your nose all the way towards that item, that prop. Noticing what is there, letting whatever arises arise. You're doing great. Last breath. Come back to your extended arm plank. And then with our next inhale, push yourself away from the surface, coming back into your mountain pose. Great job. From here, we start to send our right foot back, coming up onto the toes, lifting the heel, getting a nice stretch through our front of our hip, our shin, our calf. Notice how that feels. Always welcome to hold the wall with your opposite hand or keep your hands on your hips here. And then start to kick that foot up towards your hip, towards your hip. And maybe capture your foot, your ankle, or even your pant leg. Or if you have that handy dandy chair or another prop nearby, you can simply rest the top of the foot on that. So we're here to kind of going just a little bit more into that quad stretch of hero's pose. Standing. Great job. Exhale, release that foot back to the ground. And then we'll switch sides. So we'll take left foot back, step it back just about a foot. Start to feel the stretch through the front of the hip flexor, down the thigh, the shin, maybe the calf feels like it's getting a little bit of action here, maybe the bottom of the foot or the top of the foot. Notice what's happening, whatever arises. You're doing great. Inhale, start to lift that heel towards your hip, taking quad stretch. Great job. Release into your mountain pose. So we did a little sun salutation just a moment ago. We're going to add on to that same sun salutation. So coming into our mountain. This time, let's take our left foot back. So similar to what we just did, toes down, heels lifted, and then let your arms float up. Keeping arms wide, maybe bringing hands together or down towards your right hip or a prop. Take your side bend. Noticing how that leg extension changes it just a little bit. Inhale through center. Step it in. Switch sides. Exhale to the left. Beautiful. Inhale, bring it back through center. Step it up. Now we're going to take that twist to the right as we start to lift the right leg. Again, those toes are always welcome to be resting on the floor or a prop for more stability. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to the left. Exhale through center. Inhale, tall mountain. Exhale, swan dive into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, sink the hips. Unfurl the spine, rolling up into that tall mountain. This time, arms reach up. And then once your hands are lifted, once your head has reached the highest point, exhale, invite in a standing back bend. Pulling hips forward, gaze comes up, shoulders curl back. Great job. With an exhale, we'll cactus the arms, squeezing the shoulder blades. And then exhale to a prayer. Beautiful addition to our sun salutation. All righty. For this next pose, maybe you want to stand behind your prop and add a little bit of extra balance, as this will be a little bit of a balance challenge. And for more of a challenge, maybe bring a block in between your hands, and that's what you're holding on to for a balance. And again, it can be anything, just something to place hold in your hands. All right, whichever variation you're choosing, we're going to come into a chair pose. So we're going to start to bend through the knees, sink into the hips. We're really working our core to keep our spine straight. And if you start to notice yourself moving forward, that means come out until you get that straight spine. All right. Now you're welcome to simply stay here and enjoy this movement of chair pose, coming out and then sinking back in as your body feels appropriate. But if you'd like to go on, add a little bit extra, maybe you lift your right toe, tap it back, come back into chair pose. Same with the left. Taking chair pose step backs. We don't want to rest any weight as we touch back, but you're welcome to for a little added stability. You're doing great. Take this as fast or as slow as your body would like. Keep that core engaged. Beautiful job. Step both legs back in. Inhale to release. Mountain pose. Alrighty. We have just one more chair variation before we move on. Exhale, sink back into your chair pose. And then we're going to take into a twist towards the right. Twisting at the hips, opening that right hand behind you. And if you like to take a prayer twist, come back to that same variation that we did at the beginning with banana childs. Great job. Inhale through center. Take hands to the left. Twist and open. Last breath here. Inhale through center. Straighten those legs. Give yourself a little bit of a break. And then let's step the right foot back into the side. Extend the left foot long in front of you. And we're going to take a beautiful forward fold. Now we have options to bring our hands onto the chair or prop of any choice. Or maybe you bring them to your lower back. You can interlace the fingers, you could hold the shirt, you could even hold your opposite wrist, elbows, or a strap in between your hands. So our options are to have our hands grounded on a prop or lifted behind us or just resting on our hips. as we take this pyramid hinge over that front leg. And we're noticing any strong sensations in the front of the knee or the back of the knee of the front knee. And if so, add a bend into it, seeing if that moves the stretch into the thigh muscle. Inhale, bring yourself back up to a straight spine. Step the back foot forward, take it to the other side. Straighten the spine, maybe arms lift, maybe arms lower. Maybe you take the opposite or the funky bind behind your back and begin to hinge over that front. Beautiful job. Bring it back up to a straight spine. Step it up. We're going to start to get into our cool down portion. You're taking chair poses. Maybe you bring a blanket or something to cushion the piece of your furniture that you're going to be resting your elbows on next. You're taking this option from a wall. Maybe bring your elbows to a wall. And as always, floor is a great option as well. Come on to hands and knees. Elbows come to the ground. And from here, we're going to take a puppy pose. So we're going to start to bend the hips, walk the knees back, walk the feet back. Start to let the forehead drop between the arms. It could rest on the ground. You could bring a prop under it. You could let it rest on the wall or the chair. Notice this deep opening through the shoulders, the side bodies, all those places we've been giving so much love to as we open our heart space here today. And take just a couple of breaths here. Beautiful job. Exhale to release out of our puppy pose. And from here, we're going to come into a seated position. We're going to take a seated boat position. So in the chair, I suggest bringing yourself so you can rest your feet on a surface. It could be a wall, it could be a piece of furniture nearby. But start to bring your feet up onto the surface. Knees can be bent or straight, whatever feels better for you. On the mat, you're always welcome to use the wall hack as well. If that feels like a great option for you, you're also welcome to bring your feet to dangle in space as well. Or for more stability, bring your hands behind you and your feet to the floor like in a constructive rest. All right, on these boat poses, we're going to do a one leg toe touch. So wherever you're at, you're going to lift one leg, tap the toe, bring it back down. Lift one leg, tap the toe, bring it down. As you do this, concentrate on your abdominal muscles here. We don't want to be just letting these movements happen without our noticing. So feel the contraction of the muscles as you make the movements. You're doing great. One more on each side. Great job. Go ahead and come back into your constructive rest or boat on the floor. And then bring your feet down to the ground. All righty. From here, let's go ahead and roll down onto our backs if we're on the mat. If you're in the chair, we're going to come into a reclined position. So the hips are forward, the shoulders are back. You're always welcome to bring a pillow behind the spine in the chair for just a little bit more support. Start to send the legs long and the arms overhead. We've been exploring this banana pose in lots of different ways today. So now we're gonna take a full body banana. We're gonna walk our feet over to the right side, maybe crossing left ankle over right. We're gonna try to keep our hips and our torso as much as we can in this space, but allow the shoulders to start to fall over to the right side as well, finding that deep side bend from rib cage up the arm and down the leg. Beautiful. Now bring it through center to the left side. Right hand, right ankle on top. Great job. Bring it back through center. Bring your knees bent to the soles of your feet about hip distance apart. We're going to take one last back bend to end our class. We're going to bring our hands down by our hips. If you're in the chair, hold on to the chair for a little bit of support. If you're on the mat, they can just rest by your hips. And we're going to take a few rolling bridges. So as you inhale, you begin to curl your hips, and maybe they float off your prop. Now they don't have to, but see what it might feel like. See what arises as you do. Now I like in the chair to bring my elbows kind of supported by the chair, which helps give me a little extra lift. But again, that's not necessary. And you come up and down on your bridge at your own pace, rolling through the spine one vertebrae at a time. You can even squeeze those glutes when you reach the top, and then slowly bring it back down. Another great option for the chair in this is to maybe go and lay on a couch or a bed nearby, which will give you that same option to take the rolling hip lifts, the rolling bridges from a flat surface like the floor, but from a couch or bed. As we take our last one, hold it at the top for 3, for 2, and on your 1, lower 1 vertebra at a time. As the hips come down, windshield wiper the knees from left to right. Anytime we do all of this back bending, it's good to follow it with a twist. It helps to set the spine. And then as you're ready, we'll move into our final resting pose of your choice. Maybe you come into a constructive rest or corpse pose. Maybe you stay in your chair or move to someplace in your environment that's a little more comfortable. You're welcome to add pillows, blankets, sweaters, or socks. Really anything that helps make it comfortable for you to sustain a straight spine in a relaxing position that feels like rest or stillness to you. As you settle in, take a moment to maybe make any adjustments so that you can start to relax on command. Let your hands rest wherever they feel at ease. Maybe you gently close your eyes, or even keep them softly open, but letting your gaze drop. Begin to feeling the natural pull of gravity, the support of the earth beneath you, allowing your body to settle as if the ground is cradling you completely. Notice the rhythms of your breath as it flows in and out, steady and natural. No need to change, just simply observe. Each exhale is an opportunity to soften, to release tension, and to let go of holding. As we bring our attention to the sensations of our body, we'll notice the places where your body is in contact with the surfaces beneath you. Feel the weight of your body resting, growing heavier, but supported. Notice the air on your skin, and even that gentle rise and fall through your torso and abdomen as you breathe. Maybe there's warmth or coolness or subtle vibration. Whatever you find, simply notice it without needing to label it as good or bad. It's just there. Allow yourself to settle deeper into this moment, sensing the stability of the earth below and the spaciousness around. And as you bring your focus to the sensations in your body, allow yourself to continue to feel supported by the ground beneath you in your connection to the earth. This grounding energy helps anchor us in the present moment, providing stability and strength. Can you imagine roots extending from your body down into the earth, grounding you even more deeply, allowing the sense of grounding to bring a feeling of security or peace, reminding you that you are supported and held lovingly. And as we rest here together, we'll turn our attention inward. Life is a series of moments, each one bringing something new and very often unexpected. Our journey is enriched when we remain open to whatever arises, embracing the present moment with curiosity and acceptance. In this practice, we will learn to soften our resistance and to invite a gentle openness to all experiences, whether they bring joy, challenge, or uncertainty. This openness allows us to live fully, authentically, honoring each moment as it comes. Now, as you continue to breathe naturally, I invite you to bring that sense of openness to whatever arises in your awareness. Perhaps as you rest, you notice thoughts, feelings, or sensations. Without judgment, simply greet it with a soft, inward yes. Not a yes of agreement or approval, but a yes of simply allowing. A recognition that whatever is here belongs just as it is. If as you are noticing these feelings, sensations, thoughts, You also notice tension or resistance. You might gently say yes to that too. If the mind begins to wander, say yes to the wandering. If stillness arises, you can say yes to that as well. Whatever appears, comfort or discomfort, restlessness or calm, we can meet it with this spacious, inward yes. Take a few more moments of yes. Beautiful job. Notice how this yes allows everything to settle around it, to be as it is, without needing to fix, label, or change anything. You're simply saying yes to the moment, to life, just as it is. And begin to take a moment to notice the simplicity of simply being here now. The ground beneath you, your breath moving through you, and the space all around you. We can carry this openness with us as we move back into our day, remembering that we can meet each moment with a quiet, steady yes, not of approval, but of allowing the moment to be. We'll take the deepest breath of our day so far. And then when you're ready, begin to deepen your breath, feeling the expansion of each inhale and the grounding of each exhale. Maybe gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, inviting small movements back into your body. As you're ready, maybe open your eyes, take in the space around you with fresh openness. And then in your own time and in your own way, return to an upright position facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time.